Listen up, you beautiful bastards. I'm Insipid, and this is Trove. Can I get that out of there? Can I put that out there? Can I do that? No? Can I do this? Yeah, okay, that's better. As you may have noticed, I've blown up the walls enough times. Let's go ahead and stop while we're ahead. That said, I don't want a little chit chats. Oh, my favorite. I hit the F button. I get the fish. It's good. Come here. I haven't done just water in a while. Let's do some water. Let's do some water. Thank you. It's fine. That said, what did I want to... Gosh, golly, they have been busy with the clubs today. Man. Hi. I wanted to discuss the notion of failure. I'm not sure if I've really tackled it directly, but learning from one's mistakes is really, really powerful, and it really does help a person determine where they want to be. Until you've had the failure, until you've felt the agonization of the mistake, even if it's not classically a mistake, even if you did everything right, you can still fail. But the ability to learn from that, the ability to take that information and grow, is so important. Oh man. And if you don't, the classic reference is that if you don't learn from your mistakes, you're doomed to repeat them. True enough. You meet enough people and you listen to their ongoing drama and you're like, all right, yeah, no, you've had that mistake before and you just did it again. You did it again. Again is when you've done it. You've done that. Right now, you did it. You did that thing. Oh man, so many clubs. What is it with like this weekend specifically? Crazy town. Anyway, Haiku. Regular need to go and toss this on up. This is Haiku. He's a hip hop artist whom I know personally, and I have a whole lot of respect for, both in terms of their general attitude and for their music. So, right back to the topic. Failure. For me, it took plenty of time fucking up. Are you actually fishing right now? Are you sure? Doesn't look like you're actually fishing. He's got the gun and the fishing pole out at the same time. Is it? Eh? Yeah. Lies. It was lies all along. Got it. And it has taken many forms for me to really kind of appreciate my failures. Let's go ahead and be clear about some of them. I dropped out of graduate school. I was done with pretty much everything except for the thesis, but for many, many reasons, I had to go. That was an emotional need on my part, an emotional decision, but in the end, it was also the correct decision. I was not suited to academia. I went into it, and I would be a good teacher. In my opinion, it's rather pompous, but I would have had a great time. But every system has its bureaucracies. Every system has its rules that you have to follow. And being inside someone else's system, brutal. It is a rough time trying to abide by notions of correct composure in an academic setting. I am a very eccentric person? That's going to be the right word. And I'm just not predisposed to the multiple layers of bureaucracy that come with academia. Because you have yourself and the students who you desire to teach. This microcosm is where I wanted to exist. I love imparting knowledge. I love sharing. I love expanding the current knowledge set. I find the scientific method to be very engaging. But the moment you get outside that core microcosm, you start having to ask questions. Who's funding it? Will they stop funding it if I find the wrong results? Wrong results. Imagine a toothpaste company who has hired you to research something for them. Say, how effective is our toothpaste? And you research and it's like, what? You basically have the worst tasting, least effectual toothpaste on the market. We have found almost nothing that is commendable about your product. Hey, Deathy. Dati. Pleasure. Is it? Hello there. Where was I? Oh yes, fishing. Oh. They say I love your vids. Thank. Thank you. I am recording right now. Say hi to YouTube. That said, oh man, where was I? Failure, and that's the big thing. And so I could not have learned that I was not able to handle that style of layering of bureaucracy unless I'd gone into it. If I'd like started the process and learned that it was no good. What video am I making? I'm making a Insipid comments on failure. Failure. I'm talking about the importance of learning from your mistakes. So I'll never let my ego go high, and while I'm checking mics, you trappers are wrecking lights, teaching all you that it's all about getting high. So I'll flip the script a little bit and innocent. Like so. That said. No permission, insolence. No revision is the way that they live in the fickle. Okay, I'm remaining calm. I'm having a great time. And that's the way shit hits the fan. So, I mean, that was my failure there. And just having to immerse yourself in your failures to really understand why that's not the correct path. Or why it is the correct path, but you have to approach it from a different perspective. Throughout high school, I had to put myself out on a limb to really learn my mistakes in social circumstances. When I first started out, one of my favorite social strategies, let me jump back one step before that. First strategy, I got bullied enough times and I was like, I'm done. Tapping out. I'm not interested in this social bullshit anymore. I'm done. I'm gonna go, oh. What? Got it. What? Oh, because of the top right thing, right? Right, okay. I think that's good. Anyway, sorry, my bad, getting all pumped. And so I was just very, very separated. I was an observer of the world around me, still bullied, but I was more focused on, guys, you guys aren't behaving in any way that I find logical, and so I just can't handle this interaction. And then I finally muscled up and said, I'm not going to make it unless I learn the value of interactions. I missed out. Oh, Haiku, nice! I missed out on so much because I was restraining myself. I was like keeping myself separated. And I didn't take the pains to make those mistakes socially. And so, high school, I was like, fine, okay, yep. Really invested myself, and then went straight on into it. And I was just slugging my way through the social environment, but I was so aggressive. I was presenting myself with such a strong front that it would put other people on their heels, and then I found that advantageous. That was my place of safety. If everyone around me is on their heels with how forward I am, I have the advantage. I've won. I get to be eccentric and over the top, and no one can stop me because I'm busy being me assertively. But there was the other flip side of that. You already mentioned that, boss. Yup. That's cool. Got it. And so I had to learn from that. I had to learn that people being on their heels around you all the time, it's exhausting. It's exhausting. And so, I mean, I'm not sure if you have someone in your life who's just always just boom, 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 right there, right on top of you, and you're like, small doses. You're lovely, Frank, but in small doses. if you don't know who Frank is, don't worry about it. I know who Frank is. Frank knows who Frank is. Finger guns. You're amazing. Small doses. Anyway, moving right along. He's an amazing guy. Truly amazing guy. But we don't always want to do shots. Anyway, Frank, love you, babe. Mwah! Moving right along. Getting into college, and that's where I really started learning a lot about how to really measure my social interactions. And it wasn't until I got my social interactions kind of more measured that I was able to, he's dancing, to really engage myself on the next level up. Because social level stuff is supposed to be like elementary school where we're piecing that together. Way late in the game. But then you start figuring out stuff like, what do I want to do to pay bills? Because, like it or not, a big part of adulting is paying for shit. Even if you don't want to have to pay for shit, there's a whole lot of shit you gotta pay for, even if you don't want to. And it's not a matter of giving into the man to understanding the reality of that. There are people who have the luxury of starting their own business and having kind of command over their own like personal finances. But you're going to quickly realize there's this little thing called the government who wants a piece of your pie. And there's always so many parties, so many clubs. There's always someone above you. There's always a bigger fish. And so understanding, no matter how much ire it may derive from you, you're part of a system. And the learning of the rules of that system means you're going to have to make mistakes first. Losing your ego and letting yourself learn is an incredibly valuable skill. And so I think I want to end on that note, that important note. The value of a failure is always worth more than your pride of yourself. There are places where I don't think ego needs to be stripped from you. And I might go ahead and do a video about that another time. Maybe. I don't know. We'll find out. But in this case, when it comes to your self-improvement, never let ego get in the way. And that's the other thing I'm going to end on. When it comes to improving yourself, never let your ego get in the way. That said, it's been absolutely fantastic having you with me. Thank you, Haiku, for the backup music. And I hope you guys all have a fantastic day.